Everyone, welcome back to Ink and Blade. We are excited to bring you another episode of Hell's Rebels. And we last left off having, with our group having pulled themselves through a very sudden altercation, or actually, better described as a full-blown riot happening. So this is about to immerse our characters in a very different world than the one they're used to. So I would like to go around and see a little bit about what each of the characters are kind of how they're feeling about things, what they're thinking. But first, just as a reminder, my name is Autumn. I'll be the storyteller, and I'm gonna send it around to introduce everyone else as well, real quick. If they want to go ahead and remind us who they are and what character they're playing. Emily, you want to start?
Sure. I'm Emily, and I'm playing Ness, the lizard folk war priest.
Krista? Okay,
Hi.
perfect.
I dropped my phone right when I was about to speak. Hi, I'm Krista. I'm playing Lady Daphne Darlin Sorini. She is a human bard.
Chris, did you want to go?
Sure. I'm Chris. I'm playing Gorham Alamaxa, the Gnome Skald.
And I am Julia. I'm playing Kamina Wyndham, a human investigator.
So, let's get a little bit of a recap from the character's point of view. Give us some idea what we're experiencing here. Just a quick reminder, our story's set in the city of Cantargo, and it is part of, currently, has a recent addition in some ways, currently part of the larger empire of Cheliax, which happens to be an empire of devil worshippers at the moment. And they have a lot of focus on law and order, though not without a fair share of backstabbing. This city itself is a little bit more chaotic with a much older history, and chafes a little bit at that order, as we'll see. Any volunteers to go first on our recaps?
I can go first. My original thought for Darlin's voice didn't come out in the first session. I don't know if I did the same voice in the second session. It's part of the exploration. I can't believe they threw manure at him. Broke out into a true riot, and I hope it was the right thing sending my brother Logan on his own. It's just the violence of that lizard folk. It awoke something in me. It was short-lived because I was quickly knocked unconscious by a guard. Me. And I woke to Hedemon, of all people, urging me to go to a hideout. They're much more than I expected. And that's all I got.
Anyone want to volunteer next? Doesn't need to be much, just a little bit about what you think your character's feeling, having this very sudden event possibly change their lives.
So Gorham is slightly annoyed that his other manservant, whatever his name was, more or less killed themselves, but it's fine because we were able to get away. And he recently heard someone in need of help, so he his best mate Geely are gonna go save them, or at least he told Geely they're gonna go save them. Whether or not Geely's coming along is up for debate.
I guess I can go.
Okay.
Caveat before I do this. This is Ness's internal monologue, so I'm translating from lizard folks, and any accent is the accent she would have relative to other lizard folk. So just as far as just be warned, okay? This isn't. She doesn't have an accent when she's speaking very broken common, but compared to other lizard folk, just keep in mind she lives a few hundred miles south of where they usually. Well, I came for rebellion, and I reckon I found one. Was kind of shocking to see violence of that scale break out right after I met my contact, but look, I can't say I'm all the way surprised. There's a lot going on here that kind of reminds me of home in some ways. Somebody comes in, steals your land, expects you to do what they say even though you've lived here for decades or generations. Anyway, I tried to save whoever I could, but I'm not equipped to do much other than stay focused on the big picture and try to find some allies. So it stings that I couldn't fight off more of the guards, but what are you gonna do? We'll get them eventually, and we'll get justice for all those who were killed.
I'm last. But for Kamina, I think it's a little bit of a mix of relief finding somebody that she knew. She wasn't sure that was going to happen. A bit of sadness because she did not find the people she was looking for, and she was not able to help as many people as she would have liked. After leaving the square and going off with Hedman and the rest, and hearing the calls for help in the distance, she can't help but feel that desire to help again. So, following Gorham in that direction.
Well, that is a bit of a reminder that as we concluded our adventure, our characters had managed to escape the square itself, but having held up in an alley not far from the square, they kind of found themselves at a bit of a crossroads as their somewhat surprising rescuer, in a sense, Hedamon, has encouraged them to basically seek shelter at a location across town, and has reminded them they can't save everyone. But at the same time, someone is clearly in distress just around the alley's corner, and it seems to have be on the verge of splitting our party in some ways, as some of them are kind of heeding the advice and trying to at least save themselves so that maybe they can help others later. But others are just too drawn to their need to help. So at the moment, it seems that Kamina and Gorham are at least going to round that corner and see what kind of danger they run into. but I do want to ask. It's not hard for either, I mean, for the rest of our party to notice that the two of them seem to have held back and are turning towards the sounds of distress. Does that change things for either of you? Are you still determined to get to this fallback location in a way and regroup? Or are you, does this give you enough pause to at least hold your position or change your mind and send you following after the other two?
It's tricky, right? Because I want to trust my contact and trust in Milani, but I also know that even servants of Milani can be fallible, and I do still want to save everyone I can. And I figure even if this is a trap, it's better that we only have a chance of surviving if we're able to help each other, rather than letting a couple people get picked off. So I think after seeing other people's willingness to just dive headfirst in, I'm gonna pause and follow them, not right on their heels, but in case something goes wrong, but close enough to be able to get involved if I'm needed.
Okay.
So Darlin, like, last we left off, kind of like told Ness, like, you're with me, I'll show you where to go, and started walking, and I think almost immediately, like, started talking to them, and then realizing that you, like, paused and started walking towards Kamina and Gorum, I'm like, can we just... and, like, frustratedly goes to follow you, because, like, I mean, they got healed, but, like, they got knocked the heck out, and they're kind of feeling a bit attached to you as someone who is strong and is willing to heal them.
Best place
so
to be
they
is right
start, like,
behind the tank.
Yeah, that's how Darlin is feeling, so they follow you reluctantly, and goes, do you even know who I am? Like, do you know anything about nobility?
Too much. Not you. Too much about nobles.
Okay, well, I'm like one of the closest things to like a princess here, and the guards knocked me out. Me. I don't understand what's going on.
Are we close enough to hear this conversation?
Close enough to hear it. The questions of whether you actually do. There's still the sounds from the streets as people are trying to run from the square, and there's definitely the sounds of distress ahead of you. So I'm inclined to let's give me a perception. Yeah, that's enough to hear. At least it's enough to hear enough of it to know what the conversation is about.
Gorum pauses on his way down the alley to help the people and turns back and goes, calm down, Serenity child, there are people in need. And then continues walking down the alleyway.
I swear I am gonna burn that boy's house down.
Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, so, you can definitely hear the talking from behind you, but Kamina, and Gorum, you're both close enough to kind of hear more of the conflict. And it seems as though there are a few people accosting a single person. And as you round the corner, you can kind of see that it looks to be a few of these Chelish citizens militia members who have cornered someone who seems to be wearing has had a hood drawn up, a simple cloak pulled over themselves, but you can see that that's kind of mostly been pulled away, and he's got a bit of refinery, though tattered. There's a chance that both of you will recognize him, being locals yourselves. And in fact, yeah, I'm just going to give it to you. It takes you a second because he seems to be having a little bit more stubble, more of a full-grown facial hair at this point than he usually sports, and he's definitely seen better days from the looks of him, but you recognize him as a noble. And in fact, not just any noble, but Rexus Victicora.
Whoa.
And,
That name sounds super familiar.
it should.
The house that got burned down,
Right.
and we thought everyone was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so he's a homie. I love homies.
He's a homie.
He's me.
We should give him the hookup.
Absolutely.
So,
All my homies get hookups.
you can hear now more of the actual speech is being spoken here as the it looks as though the Chaliax member who is kind of leading this group of three, he's basically while the other two have Rex's pinned to the wall, he's basically got his mace in hand and he's banging against the open palm and he's going, "We've been looking for you all over, Victicora. Lord Mayor Thrune will be most pleased to know that we found you."
So as this is going on, Gorham pulls the hammer off his back and start walking up to the guards and goes, "Have you ever heard the tale of the Victicora, the founding of the Victicoras?" And this is how he's going to start his raging song.
I thought not. It's not something the House of Thrune would tell you.
And so I guess that's initiative right there.
It would be. It would be, but you can see that as the rest of but at first it looks as though they're going to get ready to basically square up with you, and then as the rest of the party kind of rounds the corner, the Chaliax militia members kind of look towards the leader, and the leader's kind of when the intentions become clear that this is going to turn into a fight, he kind of gives out a long sigh and says, he'll say that, "You better watch your backs. There's more of us than there are of you." And he kind of turns to the others and goes, and nods, and they kind of start to pull back out of the alleyway.
Yeah, Gorham looks at them, and then he looks back, and then he looks at them again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't count
No,
me.
5's bigger than 3.
Are they within charging distance?
They are within charging distance, and
Let's
you are
go.
faster. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Look, the more of them
this
we
is
kill
entirely
now,
reasonable.
the more of them we kill now, the fewer people that don't deserve to be killed that they kill later.
This is entirely reasonable. Okay, so let me go ahead, and we're just gonna for simplicity's sake.
Hitler argument, or making sure he doesn't get kicked out of law or art school.
Yeah.
Okay, for simplicity's sake, let's go ahead and this easily can become a fight. I was prepared for them to withdraw, but let's go ahead and just use this the RA square map for now, just to have the space if this is what we're going to do, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
How do I put my thing on the place again?
You drag your
You should be able to
character
just
sheet.
drag it over.
Like what? Yeah.
I did it.
Go.
There we go.
Boop.
Trust me, I'm a doctor. I really wish this character sheet box could be moved to a different window.
It can.
Yeah.
What?
You open
How?
the character sheet, and then you click
Uh-huh.
the two rectangles in the top corner, and it should pop it out.
Beautiful.
So
I knew how to do this all along. I was testing you.
I
Good
did not
test.
know how to do it, and I won't even pretend like I did.
That's because you don't have fragile masculinity that you have to protect.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to keep it simple. Does that mean you want us to go in initiative still, or do you want us to go in like a preset order? Lucy.
We can roll initiative. It's pretty fair. Although I'm gonna let the charge happen kind of as well, not exactly a surprise round, but on its own.
Are you also willing to let me have my raging song already started at the beginning of combat? Because I...
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
a good
It's
point.
already happened.
Awesome.
It's already happened.
I gotta get those bonuses then.
What? The no valid token was selected. That doesn't... I have a token.
The tracker isn't open.
Oh, that would make sense.
So it's not you, don't worry.
Yeah, hang on. Let me.
It's not me, it's me.
There we go. It should. If it doesn't, I'll pull it over.
So I get.
Oh, I got a 20. Wow.
Oh, that's why it's up. Okay.
Okay, so what save do I get above 2? It's will saves, right?
Well, will saves,
And
yeah.
it's plus
Mhm.
2.
Plus 1 to will,
Plus
plus
one.
2 to strength and con.
Got it. Minus 1 to AC.
Correct window.
Okay.
Yeah, the nice thing about these kind of coming in large is at least you can kind of see a little bit better what you're dealing with. Okay, and I'm going to leave this up for a minute, so you can kind of get a
A vibe.
vibe. This is a little bit more ragged. He's not as clean cut quite yet, but though this will be what we'll be using should he
He's got
stick
vibe.
around in any way. Should he survive? Yeah, that's the way. That's really what it is. So yeah, so he's you can tell that you know right at the moment, like I said, he's definitely disheveled, kind of torn, soiled garments that were refinery probably about a week ago, but now have seen a bit of wear and tear. And then the cloak he's been using to kind of keep cover that's been mostly torn aside by these Cheliax militia members. But this is Rex's Victicora, and if anybody actually has good reason to know him a little bit more on friendly or intimate terms, you would know that he goes by Rex.
And he's the Baron? Like he's the patriarch?
He's
No.
the scion of House Victicora, so basically the only child He's the only child. And
I
he's
guess he
also
might be
at the
the-
moment.
I guess he might be the leader now because his mother
Sure.
probably died. Yeah.
They might be dead.
Yeah,
He
there's a
may-
good.
Yeah.
As far as anyone knows, he would be the last surviving member of the House of Victicora. But you know, it remains to be seen. Bodies weren't recovered, so
So not remains to be seen because nobody has seen the remains.
because nobody has seen the remains.
Yeah. Just checking there.
We
Yeah.
probably wouldn't know each other's families well.
I'm friends with Rex.
Okay, so
That makes sense. Okay.
all right, initiative.
So yeah, we have if everyone's got initiative, if you've rolled and it hasn't come over to the turn order, I'll see if I can add you.
Mhm.
Or we could just
If you just roll
re-roll.
again.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
Or yeah, that's fine.
Because you
Go
can
right
edit
ahead.
your own number.
Yeah, remember to click on your token first if you want it sent to
Oh.
the tracker.
Rex.
There we go. Nice.
Just put
Is
me
he-
wherever. It doesn't matter.
Is he an eligible bachelor?
As far as anyone knows, yes. The gossip on the noble dating scene has not placed him in a open relationship with anyone at the moment, though. As you
Probably got
know,
like a folder on him at some point.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's been one of several that has been carefully dropped off. Although, to actually, if this folder is coming from your parents,
Yeah. From my mom.
probably not.
Okay.
Just because the Victicora family was the most outspoken family for the independence of Cantargo, and really of all the noble families, many support Cantargo independence. Maybe a little bit more than they support the House of Thrune, but none were like known to actually support organizations that directly opposed it outside of Victicora.
Okay.
And we'll see.
Got it.
So it's like
Okay.
a Capulet and Montague sort of situation.
If I was into him.
Right.
Who knows? It could be. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
There's all kinds. See, the thing is, though, some nobles have relationships with others that aren't quite public. Maybe they aren't nobles. Maybe there's other reasons it's forbidden. So, who knows? We'll see. But yes, so, Ness, if you wanted to resolve your charge, go ahead, and then we'll go through the turn order.
Okay. I would like to get a
Autumn, I
good-
just sent you a private message on Discord.
Okay, checking it now.
We're doing the iguana charge into bite attack.
We're gonna work on having some actual token art here in the next week or two. I think one way or I really love the iguana at the moment. It's just I almost don't want it to go away.
Well, that's not an iguana. That's like looks like an albino bearded dragon, I think.
It does.
Okay, it
But,
does. I see it.
The way that Ness charges and runs specifically.
Looks like an iguana running.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of limbs.
It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Okay, I'm assuming that an 11 does not hit.
An 11 does not hit.
I don't have that much roll bad insurance.
Yeah. He basically, there was a few people in the way, I suppose. You kind of had to run a little wide, and for a charge at least, and kind of gave him a bit more chance to sidestep the charge.
Okay.
But it does put you in good position.
Oh yeah, full attack action coming up.
Oh gosh, no. Okay. Well, Darlin, actually, you have the highest initiative. As...
Do.
Great person who doesn't care. Who cares the least?
I do care the least. I'm gonna cast message. And I'm gonna message Rexus. Just so in his mind he just hears Darling go, Rexus Victicora, as I live and breathe. Is that you?
Oh, just use this spell slot to flirt with this guy in the telepathic DMs.
Telepathic DMs. It's okay.
This is amazing.
He's just like, and I'm like,
slide
is
it in.
that you?
That's exactly what happens. He's kind of panicked and focused on this fight, and suddenly you can see he's like completely shaken, just looking around, startled. Kind of settles in when he sees you, and like the voice. You know, it takes him a second, and he kind of looks at you like, "What?"
It looks like you need help.
And he kind of eyes you real suspiciously. Like, he's looking back at the Chelix militia members, and he's looking back to you. And you can kind of see the mental calculus that's happening as he's deciding who he trusts more. A member of House Sereni, outwardly supporting Thrune, and known to have some, in some ways, public bad blood with his own house, or these militia members, and kind of seems to, after a moment, settle and uneasily nod his head. Much appreciated.
Are there other Victicoras around that I should go look for?
Now he's really eyeing you suspiciously.
I can
And
roll a
he says,
persuasion check.
Sure, go ahead. Let's see how convincing you are.
This week on The Bachelor, contestants must flirt next to a homicidal iguana.
Let's see. So persuasion isn't a thing.
No,
Diplomacy.
diplomacy is what you're gonna want to do.
Got it.
Yeah, diplomacy is the telling the truth part of persuasion,
19.
and bluff is the... Ooh, neat.
Okay, 19's pretty good. Normally it would actually not be enough, but given the scenario and given the actions that are kind of happening around him, it's enough to kind of convince him that while he may not understand, he does believe that you are trying to help in this particular situation. So it might not deepen his overall trust, but it's enough that he enthusiastically begins to kind of settle into having support from you and your newfound friends.
Okay. But he doesn't give me a direct answer.
As far as the question of so he says, I don't know. I fear I'm the only one that made it out. I wasn't at home when the fire started. But
using the crew that I'm rolling with that seem very bent on killing every guard is kind of putting me in a very confusing place that I'm trying to take advantage of.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I go, no, I don't even say anything. I just stand there.
Okay, well, Ness, you missed on your charge, and he was able to dodge out of the way of that, but, as you kind of, your momentum comes to an end, and you pull yourself back up to your full height, he kind of starts to crane his head up to look at you, and you can see his mouth just slowly dropping, like, oh, right. So, it's your turn. Do you have something in mind?
Yeah, I have full attack action in mind. So
I thought you might.
two claws and a bite. Rolling at +6 instead of +8 because I'm no longer charging. But hopefully it's enough. Claw number 1 is a 21 to hit.
21 hits.
Alright, 11 damage.
This is disgusting. Okay, so your first claw catches and just kind of, you can see kind of opens from shoulder down his side. You, yeah, feel free to continue with your attacks.
Alright, claw number 2 coming in for the second half of the 1-2. A 9,
Okay.
I'm assuming misses.
9 misses. So that one kind of just grazes right across the studded leather armor he's wearing. Doesn't quite cut through.
Okay, well, I still got my bite. Does a 12 hit?
12 does not hit.
Oof. It's a lot of whiffing. Oh well.
He's basically got enough defense back to kind of fend off that bite attack. But you can see you've really hurt him with that first claw attack.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely seems to have put his attention on you. At first, as a possible target, but now as in a serious threat. Okay, Goro.
I believe I'm after Yasmina.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have it in the order. I'm so sorry.
Or Kamina.
Kamina. Yes, Kamina.
Yeah, for some reason the turn order didn't put things in
Yeah,
order.
I see that. I can fix that
You
real
have to do
quick.
it
should be-
manually.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I probably would have pulled my weapon at the same time Gorham did. So
Okay.
I will take a step forward and I can attack from this positioning, right? That's good. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And that is what I shall do. 15?
A 15 is enough to hit in this case. So, 5 points of piercing. You come in and he's been fending off these attacks from Ness, and he took a pretty serious cut that's kind of opened about partly on the other side, and he seems to be trying to favor that a bit, trying to get some distance of that side from that side and Ness. But what it's done is it's kind of put his other side a bit open to your attack. So as you come around Ness, you basically are able to catch him in the other side with your blade, and it's definitely done some damage to him. He kind of stumbles back a bit in a little bit of surprise, and seems to be bleeding pretty badly. If he doesn't get some help, he may not survive the wounds he already has, but he's still standing at the moment. So you've come around, you've made the attack. Technically it's move and action, but is there anything that you wanted to do or say that kind of falls into the free action side of things?
That's everything.
Okay. Gorham, we are now to you.
So, Gorham's gonna say, "Hello, Rexy Poo," as he moves past Rex, and then continues his story about the founding of House Victicora, and then takes a swing with his hammer at the same person that's been attacked a multitude of times.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Not a critical hit, but close, and definitely 11 points of bludgeoning damage as Gorham
That's
just
a lot of damage.
holds the hammer up and hits them squarely in like the hip area, because that's what Gorham can reach.
Um,
He's
It's-
not the
it's
skull smasher,
funny.
he's the pelvis smasher.
it's the pelvis smasher, yeah. Well, in this case,
That
it
one
might
works
be
both
something.
on and off the battlefield.
No.
No. Just nope. That's nope. No, I love it. So okay, good. We finally have this working. Ha. 1 second. So yeah, you oddly enough, with your hip smashing, it's more of what's happened now is a bit of spine smashing, I guess is the best way to put it. You've he's turned a bit now that he's kind of received this wound on the other side, and he's trying to get something of a shield arm up and pull himself away from the two attackers he's already dealing with. He does have a buckler, and on the side that you've come up on. But because of the way he's turned, you kind of just come right around Ness and swing your hammer up, and it catches him right in his back, and he just drops, just completely like a noodle. And you can see as he kind of tumbles onto his back that it's just, he's gone.
Like Mr. Noodle or otherwise?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to see his friend Elmo, I guess.
So, let me go ahead and drop him out of the way here. But that does bring us to the last two, who, having seen what's happened to their companion, they both begin to start to run off. So they're basically taking a full round action to run. It is possible, as we come to the next round, that you can give chase and that you may be faster. But if not,
My compatriots can run after them and give chase.
I am actually
We need to make
not
it-
faster.
I have a movement speed of 15.
yeah, I thought this might be the case.
Yeah.
Probably am gonna be one of the fastest people in this group, and I'm just like,
I think so.
Well,
I think
now
so.
that they run away, I'm gonna drop my raging song.
Okay. Okay, so that takes us out of initiative, unless just you're dead set on chasing. But you do have at least one of these Chaliax citizenship militia members who has crumpled dead at your feet. He does seem to be kind of like a captain among them, I guess would be the best way to put it. He's slightly better armed and armored than the others. Nothing gratuitous, but enough to make it like a noticeable. It's a noticeable effect. He kind of carries the equipment as well as the way he kind of his charisma kind of carried that sense of leadership. So he's probably
More
far
like
from the
a
only one
sense
they
of
have.
leadership now, eh? Because he's bleeding all over the.
sometimes I like it.
Okay, no, I love it. I love it.
I'm just gonna, just heft him over my shoulder in a fireman's carry and turn to the others and say, "Shall we?"
I don't think we should carry that. That looks incriminating.
don't know this word.
Let's hide that. Let's hide it.
No, not hide. Skin.
Okay, we don't do that here. So, you should really adapt to the space that you're in.
Serene child, it's not gonna understand you. And Gorm looks up and goes, "No carry. Bad people find us."
But armor, weapons, food.
Take those, leave body.
Have food and armor elsewhere. Have food.
We have food and armor at home. So it
Yes.
kind of.
Fine. Dumps them on the ground.
Or,
Take what
gives a
you
little
want,
bow and
just-
says thank you.
Just not the body.
The body was what I wanted.
Okay, sorry. And I'll pull out a little, like, flask off of my hip, and I'm just like, good job.
Anyway, Gorm turns to Rex and says, "Rex, it's so good to see you alive."
Well, so yes, speaking of Rex, he's a bit I don't know, shock isn't the right word, but he's still kind of like taking in the scene of what's just happened. He kind of is mumbling a bit to himself. He stumbles a bit around, first aimlessly, then he's trying to pull his robes back together, get the hood back up. He kind of seems to pause, he kind of seems like he was getting ready to just wander down the alley in the other direction, maybe try to find a crowd to blend in with. But when you start speaking to him, he stops and kind of turns back and he goes, I suppose I do owe you I do owe you thanks for my life. He's kind of looking around. He goes, it's a bit of a motley collection here. What did I miss? It's been a long week.
We'll tell you on the way to the Devil's Closet.
No. Wrong place.
Isn't that the name of the clothing store?
Well, it's the Devil's Thread is the name of the clothing store, but
also we're
I
not
like the
going
Devil's
there.
Closet.
We're going to the livery.
The livery.
I'm casting
Going to-
Cure Light Wounds on myself, by the way.
Okay.
Gorm shrugs and assumes that he was right the whole time, but is willing to let you all believe that you were.
Of course.
You can see.
Take out a little handkerchief and I offer it to Rexus, and I'm just like, you've got some dirt on your face.
Just everywhere.
You can keep that.
he seems still a bit off, a bit confused. He is like holding it for a second, looking at it, and oh right, thank you. And he kind of tries to clean himself up a bit. It's a noble effort, but nothing short of like a bath and a shave and some new clothes is really going to do any good here. He smells of having been on the streets for a week. And,
anything he would have done to clean himself up was going to be a noble effort.
It's
true.
He's a noble.
It's very true. Glad somebody got that.
I just pull up one of my sensors and spark some incense in there, and I just start subtly wafting it towards him. What a treasure to have found you. We should probably hide you, right? That's what you're doing?
Yeah, so, okay, I guess... I guess, full disclosure, I was kind of hoping to run into. Well, I hadn't realized you were all together, but I couldn't help but show up at the protest, and I saw how you were handling yourselves there, and I I think I could use your help. In fact, I think this whole city could use your help. Um, you say you have a place to talk?
Yep. And then Gorham turns to Chile and says, "See, Chile, we get to lead a second rebellion. Isn't life interesting?"
And Chile responds, "Oh, oh, my stomach."
Bring the Pepto with you next time. I tell you this every time we leave the manor.
I much prefer the chalk. So,
It doesn't matter if you don't have either with you.
well, I'm kind of hoping to not run into these problems, but
You know me.
you just see this deep sigh just kind of settle on his face, like, yeah. And he shakes his head, and of course, my lord.
I'm gonna walk over towards Rexus and like go to like put my hand on his shoulder and be like, I know how you feel. And I like gesture to the wound on my head. I like pull my hair back to like show where I got like knocked the heck out. And I'm just like, the guards knocked me to the ground. These people saved me. You can trust them.
How truly savage. To think that it's come to this, that nobles are being struck down in the streets. I mean, this is, of course, why we were so adamant against opposing Thrune's rule here. If only we had more support from other families, this might not be happening, but I'm sorry, I digress.
Yeah, it was very brave of you to get your whole house burned down to the ground.
He kind of really does look at you, just like, just mouth and jaw dropped, like. Well, something tells me that my family will not be the last to see the bad side of Barzali Thrune.
I don't think so either. Hence my strange circumstance and behavior.
Surprised to find so much to agree with the Serini. Perhaps we can take this to someplace a little more that would be a little bit safer and continue this discussion.
I'll start walking towards the livery.
Okay.
Yes, we'll go find the fleeing teamster.
I think
Whomever.
they said they would meet us there. They're a tailor.
Therefore, we're going there to find you.
Yes. Yes. So,
Oh,
okay.
you were saying that we would go look for them
He's
first.
apparently a tailor and a spy, so like, 2 out of 4 isn't bad.
You just
Same.
right. You just need the tinker and the need a tinker and a soldier, and you're fine. Funny enough, there are both of those in this game, but we'll just leave that alone for now.
As
It is
as
that
we
kind of
walk,
game.
I pull out a pouch and take what looks like a strip of dried meat from it and start eating. Just hold it out for what? Hungry?
Rexus will eagerly take any food offered to him at the moment, and just start scarfing it down. not the most noble-like fashion. And he kind of mutters, "Thank you. It's been food's been hard to come by at the moment."
Gora will also take a piece and gesture at it and say, "Rabbit."
No.
Is
Hey, pork.
and then he will take a bite. Based on the conversation with the body, he wanted a clear answer about what this was before he started to eat it.
He did not get one, but
That was pork with a question mark.
no, it's just log pork. But they basically taste the same to Ness, so she's not gonna.
This is fantastic. Okay, well. We'll see if Hedemon has a fine Chianti and some fava beans. Go from there.
Yep.
So, without being any the wiser, you can see that, you can see Rex just completely, devours the bit of jerky handed to him, and he graciously thanks you again, and, says, I know, I know a few, or have some idea a few of you. Others I do not. I'll be happy to make some formal introductions once we're someplace safer. And I have a few things I can offer as a token of thanks. So, the library is basically to the. Here, I'll pull up. We have useful map here. Oh, there we go. Mouse was like done with life apparently for a minute. Okay. Let me go ahead and move you over to this so we can see. Well, that map did not clean up well. There we go. Okay. So if you look where there's that park with a lake, it's kind of actually split. There's kind of two. There's a road that goes over the lake.
On the south side.
Here.
South.
There we go.
Here, I'm gonna. There we go.
If you
Yeah.
hold shift while you click, it'll move everyone. Shortcut.
Okay. The livery itself is actually over towards the river. It's along that stretch where you can see there's a little green triangle. It's right along this stretch over here is where you'll find it. It's definitely out of the way. Yeah, right over in there. It's definitely out of the way, and it's become a bit run down. So some of you would know this history, but to give a bit of a description first, it's an age stable. It leans slightly to one side. Its roof is kind of precariously propped up. It reeks of stale urine, and
Of course.
you can see that there's quite a bit of broken furniture that kind of crowd the stalls. There's like 13 stalls where it's clear that horses were kept at some point. And everything is covered in cobwebs and a healthy, thick layer of dust. you do see there is a grated off alcove along the southeast wall, and that seems to be to kind of have the only remaining objects that seem to be intact. So we're going to move again. I can bring you over to this, basically a top-down map of the library.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
Pretty big.
Everybody see that? Yeah, it's it definitely was it definitely had some space. And part of that is because there's a bit of history to the place. It it used to belong to a noble family who to actually kind of prize themselves on caring for animals, and they actually took over what used to be a slaughterhouse at one point, and also turned it into a business to care for the animals there as well. But they had a number of kennels and things like that, and delivery. But that family, though they were a noble family, is one of several that has not survived kind of the turnover and commotion of recent years. So, all right. So, at this point, the thing that you note that is notably absent from this place, besides horses, a sense of care and upkeep, is Herman, who
Oh no.
is not to be seen.
When we like first step inside, I kind of like hover near the entrance and like encourage the others to go make sure that the space is safe.
Gorham blindly walks in, assuming no bad things could happen to him.
Well, of course not. That would be silly. Bad things don't happen. Okay.
My
The worst has already happened. Twice, apparently.
my tongue flicks out to taste the air, and then I like recoil for a moment at the spell, but then just sigh and continue inside.
Okay.
I've smelled worse, though rarely. And it's not like it smells much worse than the mammals that are around me right now.
Well, I should say, one thing that's notable is that both, the doors at the front and if you were to go around to the back, they are locked. But, I mean, they're locked and chained, but they're locked and chained in that way where an abandoned property has been so neglected that clearly squatters and others have used the place and have made it pretty easy to still get in and out. So, I mean, it would be simple enough probably to even break this lock at this point if you're strong enough, or to pick it if you're clever enough, but there really isn't a need if you want to just try to squeeze your way in, pull the doors far enough. It would be easy enough for any of, well, even Ness would be able to get in at this point.
Okay, good.
So, there's no sign of life in here as you kind of walk around. You kick up a bit of dust as you move, and the place seems like it hasn't been disturbed in some time. But, okay, go ahead. If anybody is looking for anything in particular, I can can let you know if you find anything, or if you maybe not finding it is also an answer. So.
Is it dark? Do we need a light source?
It's there. There's a little bit of light. I would, low light and dark vision would have absolutely no trouble. But it's dark enough for those without those senses that there's basically light coming from gaps in the roof and from the windows that were just kind of open, mostly open windows that have been boarded up, but some of them have been kicked out or have come to disrepair. So there is light, it's just not perfect. You'd be able to make out what you're seeing, it's just in a very shadowy way. Like you can see the pens, you can see the wagon, you can see the piles of furniture and things like that, but it's very shadowy, it's dark, easy for something to hide in here. So if you have illumination and you want to use it, I can let you know what else you're seeing.
I don't really have stuff like that. My like list of things I have on me is like jewelry.
Makes sense.
Well, lucky for you, one of us came prepared. I'm gonna take out a torch and light it. Look around the room. And actually, if there's enough wood on the floor, I just want to like collect it and make a little teepee of it and start a fire so that everybody can see.
Sure. It takes you a moment or two to gather wood that seems like it'll burn well. Some of it is sodden and moldy. Others are just. But you find it. It's not hard to find. You can. Everybody else can see that Ness seems to have set themselves to putting a fire together, and it's not long before there's enough illumination to see clearly around you. Although shadows do shift as the fire flickers. Are any of the rest of you doing anything in particular?
I want to look around.
Sure. Is there anything looking... Okay, go ahead.
Well, you had mentioned it seems like nobody's really been here. I guess I just want to see, like, if that's the case across the whole area, if there's any, like, sign of, like, footprints, or maybe, like, a different door being opened.
No, these are good questions. So go ahead, give me a perception check.
24. Wow.
Okay then.
Thanks
That's...
for the lightness.
That is definitely a roll. Okay. So, see here. Okay, so you're able to make out a few tracks. Let me give you a description of the types that you're seeing.
I hope that I can, like, legally blonde these kind of mysteries where I'm like, I recognize that boot print.
Oh, well, they are not... Oh god, I do love it. They're not...
I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh, we have to fix that later.
She uses her knowledge of hair care to solve a murder.
That's
It's a great mystery.
Amazing. I'm here for this.
Okay. I'm missing the description. Ah, here we go. Okay, there we are. So yeah, you do see a set of strange little tracks. They look like They almost look like baby footprints, but
Ugh.
clawed. They definitely are clawed. So a small, tiny, or no, a small creature. But there are a few of them. And if you had to guess, you know, maybe even as many as 5 or 6. And they crisscross the floor. They've managed to go over desktops, and you can kind of even see them around some of the cupboards. And do you have knowledge nature by any chance?
No.
Okay.
I don't even have to check.
Yeah, you do. You're a bard.
You're a bard,
I have bard
but
stuff.
True.
different stats for it. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, like,
Okay.
I don't have bardic knowledge.
What?
It's bardic, my subclass archetype.
Oh.
I have unplugged my laptop. That is not helpful. Okay, so while I struggle over here to find the charging cord.
To clarify, I
Yes.
just see the footprints. I don't see, like, belly or
don't
tail things.
No creatures in sight. Just the footprints. You know, they do seem. You know, you're not exactly trained in tracking and survival, but you know they are recent enough that you can still make them out. So you know that they've probably maneuvered through here in the last week or so. If you like had to pretend like you knew about these things.
Sure.
So yeah. But so far you're the only one that notices them. Let me kind of get a sense for what everyone else is doing. I know Ness is making the fire. You can see that Rex is trying to kind of settle in. He seems to have been in a complete sense of worry and panic the whole way he's out exposed on the streets, but now that he's kind of settled in, he seems to be kind of gathering himself, cleaning up. He's digging around his robes, looking, pulling out a few things that he's like a satchel that he's checking, and a small one, and he's digging through some pockets, and he'll kind of look up and look around and go, so it's a nice place you have here. Very cozy. Clearly being sarcastic. So I have a sense of what Ness and what Darlin are doing, but Gora and Kamina, is there anything in particular that you're doing? Do you have anything particular you have Chidi doing, for example?
Warren just wants to talk to Rex and figure out what's been going on since the Night of Ashes.
Okay, we can definitely dive into that. Kamina, do you have anything in particular?
I think when we finally get to the livery, I'll like pat around in my pockets and like pull out a little piece of ginger root or something, and give it to Chili for his unsettledness. And then I will start picking around along with Darlin, taking a look around.
Okay. Do you, by any chance, happen to have knowledge of nature?
I do not.
Not to worry. But if you want to give me a perception check as well, I'll let you know if you see anything. There are a few other things.
6.
Maybe not as much. But once once Darlin points out the tracks, or at least pays enough attention to them, you do notice them. But you have no more luck making out what they are.
She audibly goes, "Ew." There's like little creatures running around here. Look, and I point to the tracks.
Oh,
Nora,
um,
upon hearing this, finally knows that the tracks are there, and I do have knowledge nature, but I don't know what they are.
Okay. Yeah, maybe they are demon babies. Who knows? This is
disturbing.
Stranger Things. Yeah. So,
No, Goron walks over, looks at him, goes, "They're not gnome footprints," and then walks back to where Rex is.
okay. So, Rex will kind of look up again as you come back over, and he goes, "Truly, I do owe you my thanks, Alamoxa. If there's ever any service I can do to make up for my life, you need but ask."
I just want to know what's been going on the last few weeks. I mean, the family home's burned down.
Was I still have trouble believing I came home from the academy that night pretty late. I kind of gotten lost a bit in my studies. And when I finally came back out, I heard the commotion, I smelt the ash in the air. I heard everyone talking about fires, and I thought nothing more than to go home and to speak with my mother and some type of well, I couldn't believe what I saw. I still can't. The audacity.
But where have you been? You knew you could have stayed with us.
I
Situations
didn't.
like this, Rose. There's no way I would have let my sister turn you in.
I have no doubt. And that kindness is the reason why I didn't. You saw what it was like in that alley. They're after me. I don't know why, I don't know what for, but it's been this way since the Night of Ashes. I've taken to hiding as best I can. I have a few friends like you who I've been able to briefly take advantage of, but I dare not stay in any one place for long unless I know it is not only safe for me, but safe for them. I will not risk another noble house. Or anyone's home, for that matter.
Don't like it, but I understand it.
Speaking of things that, speaking of things that are not easy to understand.
Yes.
What is with?
Goron knows exactly what he means and gestures at Darlin.
There's
Daphne?
still shit in here.
But Rex, with everyone else kind of, engaged, he'll take the moment and he'll turn and go, Daphne Serini, of all people.
I was as surprised as you. I went to the riots just to see the protest to see what was going on. Was interested in seeing what nobles took out. I was looking for you, in fact. And then all of a sudden, I see Darlin and the brother, whatever his name is, coming through the
Logan,
crowd.
I believe. Oh, I wouldn't. I would know because I was there.
Come out of the crowd, and of course, why the Serenies are there. And that's when the fight broke out. And I don't know, she helped us carve a path out and fought against the guards, which surprised me to no end. Here we are now. I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of time between the protest turning into a riot, and us running into you.
I fear we're going to see a lot more of that. Things are going to get worse before they change for the better.
Likely,
Still.
but if the rumors about her are true, she'll probably be on our side until that provision about the embroideries get lifted.
Well, when you put it that way, it all makes sense. These proclamations are asinine. They do nothing but stir up frustration.
It's almost as if they're just trying to break the city from the inside out.
It's not almost. I'm sure that's their intention. Still, well, here. He reaches kind of back into his robe and pulls out what looks to be a letter, and he says, I searched the house, what's left of it. It's probably a mistake. It's how they ended up on my trail the first time. I barely got away then. But I grabbed what little things I could. And I found among some of my things. And he hands you a letter.
Should I open this now, or?
It's up to you. I mean, it looks like he's expecting you to read it. You're more than welcome to just be like, yeah, that's nice.
I mean, I didn't know if this was a, like, here's this, keep it safe for X, Y, Z, but if he's expecting you to read it, then...
He seems to be just sharing it as, to give you, it'd be the easiest way to give you the information.
Gorham opens the letter and gestures to Cheely to come over and read it over. I would say over Gorham's shoulder, but it's just over Gorham.
So Cheely will read it out loud, which is going to be loud enough here in the stables for everyone to hear. My dear son, if you are reading this, what I have feared has come to pass, and I am dead. For many years I have belonged to the Sacred Order of Archivists, and have worked to free Kintargo of Chelish rule. I have learned much about Kintargo's secret history, and fear the time will soon come when the city needs the return of its silver raven. You have likely not heard of these silver ravens. Few have now. Mentions of them have been redacted by the agents of House Thrune, but during the Civil War, that's what they're calling it, ravens worked to ensure Kintargo's safety. They were heroes in their day, and I fear that Kintargo needs their kind again. Do not believe the government's claims that Lord Mayor Banelis abandoned us. Darker things are afoot. And I fear that all who work against Thrune may find themselves in danger in the days ahead. The Silver Ravens maintained numerous hideouts within Kintargo's walls during the Civil War. I have located one such site. The chambers below a building known today as... Cheetah kind of stops for a second, and he looks over at Rexus, and you can kind of feel him kind of look down at you, like, before going on to read a building known today as the Fair Fortune Library. There, if my research is correct, you will find something to teach you more of the Silver Ravens and their legacy. Do not let my death be in vain. Stand up for Kintargo. Bring the Silver Ravens back to life. Uh, my lord, I'm confused.
I'm confused too. Apparently, there's a whole story about the Civil War I never learned.
I love how that's what you're fixated on.
He's actively upset about it because he's an orator. He's a storyteller. The story. He thought he knew all the stories about the Civil War, but apparently he's wrong. Now he's gonna go learn about the Silver Ravens. At least the library is where we were already heading, and then we can learn about it.
It's where we
Snoopy's
are,
like,
in fact.
I'm. Do you think Hedemon knows? Is that the point of sending us here? And at this point, Rex will basically respond, I was a bit startled to know that this is where you were headed. I take it that you are these Silver Ravens that she's talking about?
Gorum puts his head on his hand. No, the Silver Raven. Would I have reacted like this if I already knew about the Silver Ravens? And Gorum stands up and goes, Hedemon almost certainly already is here. There's the secret entrance that the letter tells us about that we should find, and there we'll find Hedemon. And Gorum now takes an active role in trying to search the room for this secret entrance based on what the letter said, and he does not find it.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there. Go ahead.
I'm just like
You've definitely finished the fire by now.
frowning and looking around and going, why paint birds?
I don't think the birds are painted. I think they're born silver, he says, because it's the easiest way to stop the line of questioning, not because it's a correct answer.
Born strange birds here.
Correct.
So,
Gonna shrug, accept that answer because I don't know better, and start also looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Well, definitely,
I might be able to. Yeah, that might work. We might find it, but I doubt it.
okay, so here's what happens. Because of your height, you happen to catch something in the firelight that the others haven't.
Ooh.
And that is the kind of a bit of a shine off one of the rafters. And as you look a little closer, you can see it looks to be a ring of some sort that seems to have been nailed to the rafters some 15 feet above. It's even a little beyond your reach, but you might be able to find a way to get to it. Now, while that's going on, I'm assuming that you've kind of kept searching, both Darlin and Kamina, or...
Yeah, I kind of like follow the footprints a little bit, and then at some point I look over and go, so who are you? I assume you know who I am.
I don't know much about you, but I'm from Kintargo. I have a shop over in Villigry. You probably haven't heard of it.
Your name is more of what I was looking for than your resume.
Hamina. Wyndham.
Got it. You can call me darling.
I certainly will.
He starts to annoy you, just call her Daphne, she hates it.
I hate anything that comes out of that small person's...
anything.
anything.
Wyndham very much ignores her follow-up.
There. Something strange here. calls out and points to the ring, hoping someone will know what it's for.
Gorham looks up at it and goes, "Interesting." He puts his hammer on the ground and says, points to Nest and say, "Lift me," and points at it.
Of course. This is happening.
So while the two of you are bonding in your search, it will not be hard to notice that the lizard folk has lifted the gnome in the air, just over their shoulders, just like basically got like boots to palms lifted up.
Yeah, it's like the cheerleader holds, right? Just with a 7-foot lizard folk and a 3-foot dome.
That's not 15 feet, but...
No, but it's
It is when
getting
you add an arm length.
close when you add in the arm length.
It's true.
So, but it is just a bit shy. You might be able to...
Gorham looks down and says, "Chile, hand me my hammer."
He obliges. He comes over and...
I use the hammer to try and like knock at the nail that the ring is on.
Okay.
To try and knock the ring off the nail.
Give me... Just give me a dex check, or if you have... You have athletics or acrobatics. I mean, acrobatics is a stretch, but like, if you have something along those lines,
Well,
I'll take
there
that.
is no athletics skill.
It's true.
Oh, right, we're still doing first edition. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can roll acrobatics.
Yeah, that'll work here.
Ooh,
16.
that'll do, pig.
Nice.
That's enough. Yeah, it is. You are able to knock the nail free, and the ring clatters to the floor.
Wonderful. Chile, take the hammer.
Yes, my lord.
Hands the hammer back to Chile, and then I assume Nest knows how to put me down without like dropping me.
Yes. Yeah. I did too.
And then once Gorham's on the ground, he picks up the ring.
Okay. You recognize it very
Feel
quickly.
it. It's quite cool.
Is it secret?
I keep it.
After all, you do recognize it pretty quickly as not only being made of platinum, which is, probably a nice little penny here. I mean, you're a noble. You see these things. Probably have a few. But in particular, the reason you recognize it is because, or what you recognize it as, is the signet ring of a noble house. And you are familiar enough with history around here to know, won't even have you roll, that this particular ring, I've just lost it. Here it is. Okay. This particular ring, it belongs to House Juliac. Now, Juliac is the house I mentioned earlier that their line has perished. The house is gone. Though their smaller manor does remain not far from your own. But they were the ones who had kind of taken up the cause of trying to protect and save animals and wildlife here, both in and around Cantargo. And they took what used to be a slaughterhouse and turned it into the stables here. So, it might have some historical value or some value to somebody who was close to the house. Because it's made of platinum, it has monetary value.
Yeah, and Gorham inspects it and realizes who the house signal is, and then hands it to Ness and goes, "Here, they like the same things that you do."
Wait, what? What things?
The whatever god nature worship thing. Kalani, I think, is her name.
Oh! This is curious.
Oh.
Yes, I find it odd that it was up there as well, but it probably has something to do with how we get into the secret entrance, if we could ever find it.
Well, it's funny you mention that because as as the other two members of our party are still kind of introducing themselves, and we can jump back over to them. You basically have a mostly intact series of pieces of furniture and office supply stuff that is in that far side of the room, and there do seem to be a few random items that are still lying around. So if there's any conversation you wanted to continue, by all means. Otherwise, I'll tell you what you find.
I don't think that Darwin would follow up with any more questions.
Okay. So, if we're looking at the map, one of the things you'll find earlier on is that there is there's a grate over near A2 on this map. I'm not sure if you can see it.
We don't have any numbers or letters.
Oh, they didn't copy, did they? Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. This actually works out a little bit. I can tell you. You see where those dotted lines are? They're kind of right above my head.
Where? Wait.
Oh, we might not be in the same order. So, okay. Go ahead. Not the ones. Okay.
These?
That's a dash line. The other one's a dotted line.
This one.
Yeah, those ones.
Aha. Okay.
There's a grate there. And
there's a great what? But
it's a great.
I just assumed it was like a bowl of frosted flakes.
It's basically like a
Ooh, I have frosted flakes.
Oh my gosh. And so okay. So you can see there's kind of it's a locked grate that seems to lead to there must be like chambers beneath the livery in the stalls. So as you're searching around, you do find finally in one of these drawers a key. But it's basically at that time that a few things begin to happen.
Oh no.
It starts to get slowly but noticeably colder in the livery itself, and you can almost start to make out each other's breath. More of heat coming from the fire. It seems to be actually noticeable in the air, and
I'm definitely like huddling up to the fire to stay awake.
Right? Yeah. It makes sense. But some of these cabinet drawers and cabinet doors and things on the broken furniture starts to slowly open and close, and then they start to move, and they start to get louder and move faster.
Can I roll knowledge religion to see if this is the activity of some sort of like undead spirit?
Yes. If anyone has knowledge arcana, they can also roll that as well.
I
Yes.
have the exact same bonus on both of them, so.
Okay.
Planes apply.
And not in this case, no.
I rolled a 14.
Okay. It's certainly possible that this is the effects of a ghost or a haunt. And there may be some spirits or some, energy that hasn't quite passed on entirely to the boneyard and been judged by Phrasma yet. In fact, if that's the case, it may have unfinished business related to this place, and sometimes these are just benign, and things certainly, things like temperature shifts and moving objects could be the worst of it. But other times they can be dangerous, even deadly. So if that's the case, you may have to keep your eyes and ears open and see what's happening. Okay, so just Gorham. Nobody else had any religion or arcana to roll?
Would I only be able to roll if I have the check mark?
Knowledge can only be rolled trained unless you have a class feature that says you can do it untrained.
Which means
Right.
if you have skill ranks in it, you can roll it, but otherwise not.
Right. Okay. But yeah, these effects continue to pick up as you can see that bits of furniture are now starting to fall over, or in some small cases they start to fly from one part of the livery to another. Nothing so dangerous that it would possibly be stuff that you have to like actively take cover from or anything, but enough that it's starting to get alarming.
Darlin is gonna unwrap her incense sensors and spark them both alight, and it's like, okay, this place is definitely haunted, and we should get out of here. Sound good?
I agree, says Gorham as he walks over to the grate that he thinks might be the secret entrance. Can you hand me that key you found?
Not sure. Here.
Gorham walks over to the grate. Is there anywhere I could put a key, or maybe even use the signet ring that I gave Ness to maybe try and open up the grate?
The key will open the grate.
I will open the grate with the key.
Okay, so it does turn. It sticks a little. It's a bit rusty, but let's see here. You can tell that this, it doesn't take much to realize that when this was a slaughterhouse, this was a very unpleasant part of it. This long kind of chute that led to a lower section. So without spelling out the tragic details, but
Can we just go down a slide?
It's not so much. Sure, you know what? Yes, you get to go down a slide. I'm changing it. This is more fun that way.
Yeah.
Shoot.
You get to go down a chute.
Does this mean that I get to bowl with Gorham?
No, because that requires consent, and you don't have mine.
But it would be so fun.
Oh,
For one of us. For the bowler, not the ball.
No, we can get you some full plate, some gnome-sized full plate. You wouldn't feel thing.
Yeah, I only have breastplate so far, so maybe in the future. Also not proficient in heavy armor. Anyways, not important at the moment.
That's
I'm
always
seeing
important.
fastball specials in our future. I'm definitely seeing fastball specials in our
Oh
future.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Gora moves the grate out of the way and goes, Ness, bring torch, and then goes down the slide.
All right.
Sheely's in the background, like, oh wait, oh, oh god, just kind of groans a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm totally like holding the torch, sort of above me and like going down the slide on my tummy.
Okay.
How big is the grate? Because if possible, Gorham's gonna try and go down the slide standing up.
Okay.
You gotta like
It
turn
would
around
be-
and face us and moonwalk down the slide.
Not doing that
it
one.
it would be just given how big it had to be when it was in operation. It would be just large enough for you to be able to do that. And I can't believe I'm saying this right now because this is just ridiculous.
So it's like almost 4 feet tall. Gorham is
Yeah,
2'0".
it would have to be. It would have to be. It would have to be at least 3.5, if not 4 feet tall.
Perfect. Gorham will simply walk down the slide. I can't reach the top cabinet, but I can walk down the slide.
As you all start heading down this, or I don't know if you all do, but I know that 2 of you are at least. Something you'll notice is that
The two of us with the least instinct for self-preservation.
yeah. As the torchlight is brought towards this part of the room, you can see that what looked to be kind of like maybe water that had been leaking from like some part of the roof or condensation or something. Actually, it looks as though there is just blood leaking down the sides of the walls.
That's uncomfortable.
Like, how fresh are we talking?
Fresh.
Well, if it's liquid.
Well, something can look like it's leaking but be dried liquid. Like you can still have that, like, but okay. What does it taste like?
Clarifying point, as in tasting the air or actually putting your tongue on the liquid?
Well, like, I'm gonna like, scoop up a little bit on a claw and taste it.
As you drag your claw along it, it comes away, instead of wet and slick with the blood you expected, it comes away kind of with a dry plaster.
Okay, not licking that.
And though you still see what looks to be blood dripping down it, it doesn't feel wet at all.
Sorcery.
Can I roll Knowledge Arcana to see if this is like some kind of magic, or would that be spellcraft?
You can roll Knowledge Arcana.
Or would that be spellcraft?
If you're actively like trying to examine the effects of magic, like with detect magic, it's kind of an easy way to do the
I'm
spellcraft.
not casting detect magic, so I'll roll Arcana.
Okay. In this case, it's your knowledge about magic that is telling you.
Yeah.
Okay. In this case, it's enough. It's enough to know that you've seen enough of these different effects to realize now that this is basically everything that you've seen is something that somebody or something with access to a spell like Prestidigitation could do.
Or that makes sense, Gorham says as he prestidigitates the blood away.
And the wall looks well as clean as you want to make it, I suppose. But that the appearance of the blood just kind of
It's not like it looks like it's got a full spit shine polish, like a full 2 hours of elbow grease put into this, clean.
Got it.
It is. I'm giving it a start and just like, was that you?
I mean, this time.
But not blood.
No, that was somebody else.
Someone.
Presumably somebody who's trying to scare us into leaving. Because they don't realize who we are.
Fake haunted. Yes?
Accurate.
Good.
Gorum is definitely trying.
Like, no hesitation of just walking. Just going.
Yeah. Gorum is definitely trying to use the most verbose words he possibly can with this, just to see what she understands about common.
So, while the two of you are exploring this, I want to jump back to Darlin and Kamina. You can see that while all the banging and clanging is still happening behind you, and more objects are being just tossed around the room. The room has gotten significantly colder. The other two seem to be making some headway into starting to explore the room that they've opened behind this gate, and they seem to have found some type of chute or slide, and they are making their way down it. I'm saying Cheaty. Chili is basically Chili is kind of reacting very nervously and just absolutely flustered that he has zero ability to rein in the noble he is attached to. And Rex is increasingly uncomfortable with what's happening in the room around him, but he does seem to be excited that he may have discovered the secret passage that has been alluded to in his mother's letter. And so he's keeping close to the two as they head down the chute.
Does he also head down the chute, or is he just by the entrance?
He's basically by the entrance. He may go next, but he's kind of turned to look at the other two.
Darlin will stand next to Chili and look up at him and say, "You were very brave today. I think we need you to be braver a little longer."
He kind of straightens up a bit, tries to hide a bit of a smirk, and says, "Right you are, my lady. Right you are."
If you could go down slowly and just make sure this is clean by the time I go down it, that would be very appreciated.
It's a good thing Gorum's out of earshot, because he would absolutely ream you for trying to tell Chili what to do. Not even his sister gets to tell Chili what to do. And his sister runs the house.
So, at this point, Rex will start to head after the two of you, and Chili will feel very obligated to follow after his noble, and also to try and do his best to prepare their way forward for those following after.
I'm sure it's a very dignified scoot.
Yes. Scoot. Oh my god. Kamina, how are you feeling?
been more quiet than usual after hearing the Silver Ravens mentioned in that letter. And I'll gesture to Darlin and say, ladies first. And I'll take up the rear.
Okay. So, it is interesting having heard that. You know, I don't know that, you know, everyone else, the fact that Rex would have just assumed that everyone here was, you know, aspiring to be a new Silver Raven, or part of this group. You know, no one else seemed to react like that made any sense. But one thing that you do know is this is not an active resource of any Silver Ravens that you are aware of. This maybe you know, maybe somebody had you know, a secret little bolt hole that they set up and you know, kept secret for emergencies in case you were betrayed or something. But it's possible. It's possible that this is a hideout. This is a hideout of the original Silver Ravens, and who knows what you could find if it turns out to be the case. But yeah, what you do know is that at least staying up here on the surface is getting increasingly uncomfortable, especially as you're taking up the rear and objects start to kind of launch their way towards you. So, if you're all heading down, I can kind of move forward with what you're starting to see as you make your way to this bottom floor. And if not, just let me know, because I can definitely tell you what's happening above you still. So, the first thing that you notice is that there's kind of an eye-watering stench of just filth, urine, feces. You can see that there are you know, what look to be old nests made of chewed crates and furniture pieces, and they just basically line the walls. And but there are still a few tabletops of the furniture that was originally set up down here. And let me just... Okay, good. So I wasn't sure if it was your headphones or what.
No, just the
and
lights remote.
Oh, okay. Ta-da! And you can see there are rusty knives and hooks covering the tabletops.
Daphne kind of like pulls her like fur-lined hood to like cover her mouth, and she's like, "Oh, it's so gross."
One of the things that you do all start to hear, and it seems to echo, it's hard to pinpoint if it's coming from any place in particular, are these haunting, discordant sound as though panpipes or flutes being played in the background somewhere.
Kira, is that you?
Kira is a character from one of our other games who has stumbled across a set of a pan flute recently and has it has been delightfully exasperating. Anyway, back to our scene.
It's an absolute mess of a room.
And there's no light but the light that you bring with you. but that torch is enough to illuminate the room well enough to at least for all of you to see it. And
can I
I'm gonna
kind of ooh back, trying to match the pitch of what I'm hearing?
Yeah. In fact, if you want to give me a performance check, we can see just how close you get.
16.
Okay. Oh, I see. I've cut the map off a bit.
I'm a better dancer than a singer, just so you guys know. So don't judge me for not being perfect.
Don't worry, that's not why we judge you.
That's not what we should. Oh my god. Okay. I see. I got absolutely none of the. 16 is enough. So you're coming down in. I'm gonna move you over so you can see a bit of this space underneath that you've stumbled into. There's a kind of enclosed room that you're in right now, where it's right kind of in the middle with the tables and the little boxes and crates, and there's you can see the white door.
This door.
That's the door.
Okay, so wait, we're in this room or that room?
You're in the smaller room.
Okay. Gotcha.
And what you can pretty easily make out, I mean, you don't really need nature checks to realize this. Anyone who's lived on, certainly in cities, but you know, nests you'd be familiar as well. What you're looking at are rats' nests, large rats probably. You know, they definitely infest this place down here. But what you're not seeing or hearing are rats. And these nests, though they still smell strongly of having been inhabited, seem to have seem abandoned at the moment.
Gorum casts detect magic in the direction of the rat's nest.
Sure. You look around the room, kind of slowly scan it, and you do pick up on a you do pick up on a small bit of magic coming from deep within one of the larger nests.
Can I roll?
No. Oh, go ahead.
Can I roll spellcraft and try and identify what kind of magic that it is that I'm detecting?
Yes, you absolutely can. Let me see which kinds they are, actually. You did not. Okay, well, we'll
I rolled a
later.
natural 1.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good news is that, at least in this case, you aren't, you know, you do know that you found something magic, but, as for what it is, you're just very baffled.
Good
Gorum,
news.
assuming if he couldn't figure out what kind of magic it was, nobody could, just walks up to the rat's nest to see what object is in there.
Good news. It's all types of magic at once.
Exactly. Okay.
Kitty.
So. Oh, is there kitty?
Oh my gosh.
We break for kitties. Oh. I'm very jealous at the moment. So, okay. Let's see what fun object that you have uncovered. There it is. The old. Okay. Oh, I guess it would be one of these. Neat. Okay, because everything else is too big to be in there right now. So as you dig around the nest, you come away with what looks to be a small silver figurine, and it's kind of coated. I mean, it's a bit of a mess. It's going to take some cleaning to get a good look at it. It was kind of buried in there with some of the filth and other shiny trinkets. You know, they like to collect a few things, but nothing of any real particular value except this giving off a magic aura.
What's it a figurine of?
It's hard to tell at the moment. With a little bit of cleaning up, you might be able to get a better view of it.
I used my only casting at Prestidigitation today, because I know it's from no magic, not as an actual scald cantrip. So Gorham's just gonna try and like polish it off on his clothes. Right? Pull his a little bit of his shirt out from underneath the armor and just wipe it off.
Wait, is Prestidigitation a cantrip or a first level spell?
It's a cantrip, but I don't have it as a cantrip. I have it through my gnome magic, and I only get to use that once a day.
Okay, spell-like, sort of.
Yeah.
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 That makes sense.
Okay. It doesn't. It cleans up pretty easily, and it doesn't take a long time before you're able to recognize. It's a silver raven. It's a figurine of a silver raven.
Well, I guess we're in the right place. He says, putting the figurine of the silver raven on one of the tables.
I'm frowning at it, and I turn to Gorham and I say, not born that way. Made.
Fake bird.
All silver birds fake?
This silver bird fake.
I see.
So, this might not be anything that jumps right to the forefront of anyone else's mind, but Kamina, you have probably a better sense of history regarding the original Silver Ravens of anybody here. And you do know that though uses of like message spells and through some other colorful methods, the creative types of homages that you'd expect from people who are trying to follow in the footsteps of others. The the group that you have worked with, some have been able to send secret messages back and forth using various Silver Raven symbols, but that the original Silver Ravens were known to use actual figurines of wondrous power, Silver Ravens that would let them send messages and that were capable of doing a few other things as well. And this may be one of them. It's the clearest sign you've had yet that this may very well be one of the hidden locations that the original Silver Ravens used around the city.
Walk over to it and just like lay a hand on it and say, "This is a very good sign that we're in the right place."
You're
And
looking at it like you know what it is.
I've heard of them. I don't know for certain that it will work as I've heard, but uh, there's the potential we can communicate with this. I don't know who might be on the other end.
At this point, you can hear those discordant pipes in the background that you had pitched to while all this was going. They were searching, and the raven had come, had been uncovered. They've picked up in tune, and both in the sound and in kind of intensity. And it's the type of almost like posturing in a way that a musician would like that counterpoint where they're almost challenging for the other player to kind of respond in kind.
Call and response.
Call and response. And although you know that it seems to be carrying along the walls and from deeper within wherever you're at, it's definitely a sound that's echoing from beyond this door in front of you.
I think I might be singing with a ghost.
No, haunting fake.
Upstairs was not fake.
You're right, it wasn't fake. It was just prestidigitation, not a ghost.
I mean, all the things flying around.
Right, it was prestidigitation, not a ghost.
Oh.
Fake haunting.
I mean, it could be a real haunted too. I mean, who knows?
It's actively responding to what I'm singing, though.
I think it's just a defense mechanism. I don't think there's actually a ghost here. Some sort of spell-like trap, probably designed to get people to leave, rather than staying out of the secret base of the people actively fighting the government.
Well, now I'm curious. And I'm gonna open the door and walk out.
Okay. So beyond this door, you and it does open. It's a little stuck, but so it's not open much. But you can see that beyond it is a much larger hall. It's this. Let me see if I can move it for you, get a clear view.
Yeah, there we go.
Got it? Okay. So you're seeing this section here. And it looks to be basically like one of the main sections of what used to be the slaughterhouse, where the poor animals were stored afterwards. And you can see that there's that like dirty salt and sawdust coat just the whole floor of this place. Bits of the wall have been kind of chewed or clawed away, and you can kind of make out narrow, winding tunnels that have been kind of dug out beyond. You can also see there are steel rails that kind of are mounted in the ceiling, and there are still a few iron hooks dangling from them. And there's also about like a 10-foot square depression in the floor in the northwest that is kind of filled with a pile of stained pillows, moth-eaten blankets. So,
Is that this right here?
I'm gonna cast Spark and set that on fire.
ooh, okay. It smolders for a second as though it's not going to catch, like it's damp or sodden or just moldy mildew too thick to burn, and then it just bursts into flame and quickly catches and smolders. Not in like a great wood fire would burn, but like you can see that there's it's smoldering from the inside out. And it gives off kind of a foul smoke. And as that happens, you can kind of hear a bit of, the music's continuing. It seems to be echoing up, as you come into the room, you can see that it's, where you come in from the door, as you come in to your left, so the pit is in front of you that's now on fire. To your left, there's a bit of a passage that heads to a flight of stairs that seems to be just gated off. And you can hear the music kind of echoing up from down there. But as this fire catches, you can hear kind of this chittering and squeaking and quite a bit of agitated noises coming from these mostly from like the corners of the room or the tunnels that have been kind of chewed and clawed into the walls.
Can I call behind me and say, Ness, lunchtime?
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so
Quick, it's after 9.
yeah, we're wrapping up here. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, we are about to we're about to see what maybe could be combat. Depends upon what happens. But it's going to be a good ending place.
Are there actually like little rats in the walls, or like rats in the walls?
It turns out they aren't quite rats.
There's something in the walls. So I guess
they're
Baby demons.
just
right?
call
Little
us the
baby
witch
demons.
Claw
Yeah,
baby feet.
it's exactly, yeah, it's very much the witch house. So yeah,
Wait,
there
was
are
the option of more than one house.
No.
I'm gonna show.
Just this house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You said which house, or so which implies a choice.
Yeah, it does, but no.
Oh, okay.
if you want to just go ahead and look on my screen here, I'm gonna pop it up in front of the camera. It'll be easier than popping it on the actual screen at the moment. But these are the things that you see that eventually crawl out, agitated that their nest is on fire and come scurrying to try to put it out.
They're kind of cute.
Purse?
What kind of knowledge can I roll to know what these things are? Is it nobility? Because they look pretty, like, fancy.
They're very noble creatures, yes. No, it's nature. It's knowledge nature, actually, in fact.
I know a thing!
You know a thing?
It's a dirty 20.
Oh my gosh.
It's a dirty 20, but yeah.
You do know a thing. So, that's pretty awesome. You know that these are grimples. Grimples. Grimples are,
They have a cute name.
They do. They're basically types of fae. They're gremlins, is what they really are. They they kind of look a bit like possums. Somewhere between possums and like rats. And they sorry. They tend to they tend to live in abandoned buildings in cities. They love um, they love old buildings, especially places that have like clock towers and belfries and steeples. But you know, they'll definitely make their homes in the basement of an abandoned livery and slaughterhouse for sure. Um, and you know enough about them. They love to they plunder garbage and things that get tossed out. They also steal shiny objects that are kind of left loose and lying around.
False overrated.
And they really don't like people, and they've been known to pull a whole lot of shenanigans. Like they'll open stable doors and they'll kind of loosen screws and bolts so that things will fall on people and kind of things like that.
So a lot of the stuff that we've been dealing with.
A lot of the stuff we've been dealing with.
Do they speak any sort of language, or would I know that?
They do speak languages. Most likely, what they speak is Undercommon. They tend to live with it, but some of them, because they live in cities, they pick up enough Common to be able to communicate.
Gorum, seeing these creatures come out, says to the rest of the group, "Anybody speak Undercommon? It would help if we were able to talk to them on their terms."
Well, I think I set their home on fire, so...
Right, and we're trying to avoid a more physical situation than we need.
And you can see that there's 5 of them over there desperately trying to put the fire out, and then like some of the times they'll just turn around and hiss at you and mutter something in some type of language, and they're just like jumping and pouncing around and panicky as they're trying to put the fire out.
I'm going to cast Mage Hand to try and help put the fire out.
Why didn't you use that to get the ring?
Because I didn't think about it.
I'm gonna sort of scowl at Daphne, as much of a scowl as a lizard can manage, and say, shake my head, say, "Nobles."
Oh, I'm sorry, do you only eat people?
This is a fey creature, not a living creature. It probably doesn't even provide sustenance. Also, you're not supposed to eat fey food. That's bad for you.
I don't think it's the same as eating a fae.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing.
But do I get the sense that I've, like, offended Ness?
Not offended her. Just confirmed her suspicions about you.
Alright.
Put it that way.
When she watched you pick up a dude you just killed, and I'm like, look, I told you not to. I'm trying to compromise.
Oh, this group's gonna be fun.
Problem not food, problem fire.
Oh, you're upset about the fire. Yeah, I don't think I can put that out.
Upset.
So,
Nobles always burn things not belong to them.
Sometimes their things get burned too, right, Rexit?
he just kind of starts crying.
What if redirected Mage Hand to tie Darwin's shoes together?
I think that falls under the heading of too soon.
You can just like see his eyes just kind of go somewhere else in his mind as he just starts quietly crying to himself.
walks over and gives one of the most awkward hugs ever to Rex.
He's hugging his lower half. I'll just like put a hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, just like I'm touching his butt as he gives him a hug because that's where his hands can go.
God.
Obviously, I'm just hissing at Darwin at this point.
Yeah.
Just
Gorham, as he's giving Rex a hug, says, "I'm sorry, I'm not making a move. I'm just really short."
The music in the background right now is great. It's just like you can hear the pipes just echoing in the background in this really lively way. Like they're excited for what's going to happen right now. They can't wait to see.
It's like all comforting Rex while the fire still needs to be put out. And there's these little Fae jumping up and down on it.
Yeah, it's just Daphne standing there like silhouetted by the fire she created and all the people whose home it was, and then everyone behind is like hugging Rex, and I'm going, I wonder how that gate opened.
I feel like this is a really good scene to call it at. We certainly can't dive into too much more right now. I know it's getting late for some of us, so
yeah.
this is
If you're following along on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the stuff.
yeah, that thing.
Ring the bell, I guess. Is that still a thing? I don't know. But, thanks for watching, everyone.
This has been very fun. Look forward to seeing where this goes next week as we dive a little bit deeper into the mysteries under the fair. Oh my gosh, the
library.
Under the library. Fairfolk Library? I don't know. There was a name. I forgot it.
Therefore,
So, there are Fae down here, so it is.
Fortune, thank you.
There is Fae folk here.
Yes.
There is. There is indeed.
Well, we will.
So
hopefully,
see how things fairly.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next week.